Welcome to Awareness Wednesday. I'm just back from the National Association for Multicultural Education Conference in New Orleans, where my colleague Dr. Sarah M. Straub and I shared how our Texas branch of NAME is strengthening connection by inviting members to share their stories in multiple ways. This kind of voice-centered engagement is exactly what fuels community development, which is a central part of our mission at Hope for All. Come watch our presentation with me.
I do want to say, before we get started, we are sharing one idea. And I also do want to share that when we did our regional symposium and heard from Colorado, we got some great ideas that were different than what we did. So this is just one idea, and we would love to hear yours too.
Okay, so we've spent the past few days talking about why stories matter. At TXNAME, we've been really intentional over the last year about bringing the stories of our members to the forefront. We know from education, it can be hard to engage if we don't feel ourselves reflected in the stories of our chapters. And so we are going to share with you just 4 of the initiatives that we have going that are narrative-centered, that allow a lot of different voices and perspectives to come to the forefront. Like Sarah said, we know you've got your own initiatives that you do, and we would love to hear those as well. So let's keep the networking going and share those ideas.
Yeah. So idea number 1 is artist in residence. And this was something that was originally funded by NAME. I'm not sure if your state chapters know, but there is a NAME grant that you can apply for. And we applied for it and received it probably 6 years ago. And since then, we've been able to fund it ourselves. But for an artist in residence, much like Dr. Solorino said yesterday in his keynote, the marriage between art and activism is incredibly strong. And so we looked to secure artists that were local to our conference, that had a story to share and a message to really put forth. So we've had like Hannah Bull from Houston, who was really into like eco-activism, and she used her money to do a fellowship in New Mexico. We had Ibrahim Nascimento from Brazil, but he put his money into helping immigrants in Houston. We had Patrick Alvarado, who was a lawyer from El Paso, who you've heard of him, yeah, and he used. Yeah, he's a lawyer from El Paso, and he used the money that was generated from our fundraiser to support his pro bono work for immigrant law. So, you know, the artists in residence, they come, they share their stories, and we try and do a piece that can be for sale, and then a piece that's interactive and will also eventually be for sale, that everyone can buy. And so you can see this one is from Ibrahim at our Waco conference, but we've had so many amazing people, including school art teachers that have their funds that end up going back into their art programs. So I love it. I think it's fantastic. Keep on going, artists in residence.
So we also started a journal at the end of 2023. We started the Texas Journal for Multicultural Education. Anyone who is a TXNAME member can publish in this journal. So it's created space for students, K-12, higher ed, and then external stakeholders who care about multicultural education to submit. It's peer-reviewed. We run it likely the same way Multicultural Perspectives is. We have a review team, but one thing we do is our first issue of the year is devoted to our Emerging Scholars Program. So we spend the first month of that program getting the Emerging Scholars prepared for publication and presentation at either the state or regional symposium. Then we have our second summer issue is the conference or symposium proceedings, and then also our webinar series symposiums. For those, we added a practitioner narrative option because sometimes what you're presenting doesn't work well when you're trying to write empirical research. You know, when it's the best practice, sometimes you just need to tell your story that way. So we did create a new way to share those for upcoming summer issues. And then our final issue of the year is a more open, general, anyone can publish in that. It's focused on whatever matters to you in multicultural education. So we use a rubric to review, we provide extensive feedback, and it goes through the same level of rigor as other journals. It's published solely online. You can see it on our website if you want to see how we do it. And I think it's been a great way to share stories. You can see we've covered a variety of topics, and we take different levels of work. So it goes from book reviews all the way up to empirical research. There are several entry points for newer authors to have opportunities to tell their stories.
And Taylor's review process is a little bit more strict than some that I've seen, but I very much appreciate the feedback. I have been able to grow. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
The next committee was something that was, one of our board members really felt passionately about starting a social action committee. And this social action committee, they try and do things throughout the year, and they definitely highlight something at our conference, and so I'll talk about both. Texas is a massive state, so a lot of them tend to be virtual options, like a watch party for the AERA lecture, or a watch party for what's happening in our state capitol, like attending an SBEC meeting virtually, just to learn that process. And so we have a lot of virtual options when it comes to social action, and then we do a face-to-face option at our conference. So this one in particular, the picture that you're looking at, is a visit to the Holocaust Museum after our conference at the University of Houston downtown. We've also organized solidarity walks in Waco. We've organized, oh my gosh, help me out, I'm blanking. But social action's been around for about 3 years, and so there's one thing that we've done at each conference that they put together, and it's an optional thing that people can enjoy before or after the day's event, or before the conference starts or after the day's events have happened.
And then finally, our webinar series. I love our webinar series. I like anything that I can do from my home in my pajamas and still learn something. And so what's great about webinars is you really, wherever you are, you can join. If you're in the pickup line, you can join. If you're at work, depending on your environment, you can run away and join. Put it in your ears. So these cover a variety of topics. They are very practitioner-based. We've had book talks, we've had teachers come and share ideas, we've had people beginning research come and say, like, I've kind of started this, what do you think? So these create just another space to lean into those narratives and just share what's working for you and gather feedback, but they can also serve as an opportunity to build a leadership pipeline. So as you're hearing voices, Sarah and I were talking yesterday during the Emerging Scholars presentation on, like, oh yeah, that we need to bring that in for a webinar. And so as you're seeing people connecting at these conferences, that's a great way to spread their voices out in a different way. It's free, it's very accessible, and then you may end up finding people that you want to get more involved in your organization that way.
So I'm going to let Taylor do the tips for implementation, but before we get started, I'm going to do my disclaimer. This is not an idea generation and let your chapter do the work for you. It's my idea, I'm passionate about it, let me bring it to the table. So Artists in Residence was something I felt passionate about. The webinar series was something that Osaro Iron felt really passionate about. Alexis Hooker and Marcela Martinez felt really passionate about social action, and Taylor and Lakia felt really passionate about the journal. So if you have that passion, it is your job to get that one started. It's not kind of like I'm the idea person, now go. It's I'm the idea person, now I'm gonna get my team going, and let's do it together.
Because we all like creating more work for ourselves, because we're educators. So tips for implementation, I think really, if you're not doing anything yet, pick one thing. Don't try to start everything at once. I mean, unless you have the capacity to do that, I don't want to tell you how to run your chapter, but pick something more than one person cares about so that you can work together and try it out and see how it goes. But let these be iterative. You try it, see how it goes, and then change it. I keep tweaking the journal rubrics, which I'm sure the review team loves so much because we're all learning together. But we've had things with the Social Action Committee where we got rained out trying to do a social justice walk.
Tornado.
It was a tornado.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Texas. Sometimes it's a tornado and it's not a tornado, but it was this time. So things change, but we just really want to encourage you to think about what works for your chapter and ask your members about that. Maybe everybody gets really jazzed about a webinar. Maybe you've got artists you didn't know about. If you don't have people that want to write, a journal's not a good idea. So think about what's going to work for y'all in your landscape and try it out and just constantly seek feedback. But I think simple is best. Try not to overcomplicate anything. So we're going to let you guys talk about this now because y'all have heard enough from us. And we just want you to think at your table. If you don't have anything going yet, which initiative sounds good to you, or does somebody have a different idea? Or if you have initiatives you're already doing, is there something you want to tweak? Is there something you can do with another state? And what is one step you could take to get this work going? What's important to us now is that you don't hear this and think, oh, that's cool, we're gonna do that later. Try to get a little bit of a step in place that is inspiring to you so that the work doesn't end after our chapter meetings in this morning. And feel free to ask us if you have any questions. Thank you. Enjoy your state time this morning.
Thanks for tuning in. I hope that this inspires you in your own community groups, whether that's a Rotary Club or a Lions Club or something else, to make more space for your member stories. When people feel seen and heard, engagement grows, and that's how we build stronger, more connected communities. We'll see you next time.